Hello and welcome to the Coffee Fusion Filter 101 class. Let's jump straight in and check out the V60. Alrighty, so the idea behind this video is to give you a good fundamental understanding of how to brew a V60. Let's get stuck straight in with the equipment you'll need. So obviously you'll need to start with a V60. In this video we'll be using a ceramic V60, just a 1 cup, but you can get bigger size ones as well. You'll need some of your V60 paper filters, and remember to get the right size filter for the size of the V60 you're using. Now, to make the most of your V60 brewing, you want to use a lighter style roast. Today we're using a single origin from Colombia, La Dorada y Potrejito. Along with that, you'll need a set of scales. I'm using an Acacia Pearl here, but you can use a cheaper set of scales as long as they're accurate to 0.1 of a gram. You'll also need a kettle to heat your water. If you've got a temperature controlled kettle with a gooseneck, that's going to make it even easier for you. And lastly, if you want to get the most out of your brew, you'll want to grind fresh, so you'll need a grinder. Now, in terms of your grind setting, V60 is fairly coarse. You want to go a little bit finer than you would for plunger. It's always hard to kind of describe grind settings over video, so I'm going to just show you some grinds and hopefully you can use that to figure out your grind setting. The other thing is, when we're pouring our V60, we'll see the flow rate and that'll help us adjust the grind finer or coarser. So for this recipe, we're going to use 20 grams of coffee and 300 grams of water. But when you're heating your water, you want to add a bit more. So have at least 400 grams of water so that you can rinse the paper filter. So to put the paper filter in, give it a fold and then stick it in your V60. So I'm setting my kettle here to 96 degrees, and when that water is heated, use some of your extra water to rinse the paper filter. That will get rid of the papery taste in your cup. It'll also warm up the ceramics of your V60. After this, we're going to empty out that water, put everything back on the scale and tare it, and then add in your coffee, making sure that you've got exactly 20 grams in the V60. From here, I give the V60 a little tap just to settle the grinds, make sure they're nice and even, because we want the water to flow evenly through the coffee bed throughout the extraction. Okay, so we've got that coffee in, we're going to tear that off, we're going to start the timer, and then we're going to do what's called the bloom. So we're going to pour 60 grams of water in a spirally motion from the inside out. So after we've finished the bloom, we got to get the rest of the water into that V60. I like to split that into 3 equal sections. So for this 300 ml V60, that means we're going to do 3 times 80 grams of water. And we're going to do these every 30 seconds. So at the 30-second interval, the 1-minute interval, and the 1-minute 30 interval. Each time you're pouring your 80 grams of water, you want to repeat the same process in that you want to start from the center and spiral your way out. So we make sure we keep that pour nice and even, and the water will be flowing through that bed of coffee evenly. Now when you've finished adding the last of your water, I like to take the V60 and give it a quick swirl. It's a Scott Rayo technique and it helps to give you an even drawdown as the last of the water runs through that coffee bed. As this brew is finishing up, you just want to see the last of that water run through the coffee bed and just check the time and stop it when you see that happen, so we know how fast or slow this total brew time was, and you can use that to adjust your grind. I like to see this recipe run through in about 2.5 minutes. All that's left to do now is taste the coffee and see if you think whether it's an even extraction or if it's slightly under extracted and sour or over extracted and dry and bitter. If it's under extracted, make your grinds a little bit finer. If it's over extracted, make them a little bit coarser. And as I was saying, aim for that brew time of around 2.5 minutes. So hopefully this first video in the Filter 101 series has helped you out. If you don't have a V60 but you want to get started, you can grab one of those from the Coffee Fusion website. I also have a bunch of different coffees roasted specifically for filter, so if you need some filter coffee to play around with, definitely grab that from the website too. There's going to be a couple more videos in this Filter 101 series, so make sure you hit subscribe if you're not already, so you can check out the other recipes. And if you have a specific filter device that you would like to see a guide for, make sure you write that in the comments below, so I can see which videos we need coming up. Thanks so much for watching. The V60 really is a great way to make quality specialty coffee at home. So if you haven't got one, grab one. They're pretty inexpensive and you can start brewing some really nice coffee. Until next time, keep frothing.